in 60 seconds. So if you are not live, we'll start in 60 seconds. I will do it generally in English, and then I'll do a quick key summary before we take your questions in either language. We would start it off in about 60 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good evening, and thank you for joining us here at the Ministry of Information, even at very short notice. Right from the beginning, I want to make some clarification, because I was a parliamentary candidate in this election that's just gone by. I need to be clear that I speak tonight as minister responsible for information and not from a partisan political point of view. And tonight, we've invited you here because the government of Ghana deems it necessary to make some comments for the benefit of the Ghanaian public and international audiences as well about the ongoing 2020 presidential and general elections in Ghana. And we deem this necessary because, as you have observed in the last, about 1 hour ago, some comments have been made for the first time by a presidential candidate. A presidential candidate. That's candidate John Mahama of the NDC. And the comments that he has just made and thrown out into the public domain at this stage in the election process have the tendency to do a number of things, to endanger public safety, to raise tensions, and even to undermine the sanctity of the ongoing process. And so the government of Ghana believes it's important to make some comments as a government, and that's why we've disturbed your evening. I'm sure you'd have been doing your coverage and doing your analysis in your studios by now. I just want to recap a few of the key comments that candidate Mahama has made this evening, which the government of Ghana believes that it needs to respond to. The first is that, as I mentioned earlier, for the first time, a candidate, a presidential candidate, is claiming that his party has gained what he describes as parliamentary majority. And then they go into some discussion about electing the speaker and a few other things, but that's a different conversation. But the point is that we have a candidate, a presidential candidate, who is now publicly making the comment that his party has secured a parliamentary majority. He's also calling on his supporters to jubilate. We clearly understand that to be a dog whistle for people to get out on the streets. That is what is transpiring here. Number three, he's also making comments to undermine the work of state institutions, including the Electoral Commission and the military. And the government needs to respond to these at this particular moment. He's also making comments aimed at attacking the work of the Ghanaian media in this election, attacking your reportage and your analysis and other things that you are doing. And we think it's important that these matters are responded to right now, especially at this time in the election. And he's making false allegations that the military of the Republic of Ghana is involved in efforts to change results and subvert the will of the Ghanaian people. So we will speak specifically to some of these issues, and then we will take questions and respond to them. Now, first of all, the claim by candidate Mahama that his party has won parliamentary majority is false. That claim is false. Anybody who has followed Ghana's electoral process knows that there are returning officers at the 275 constituencies. That's different from the returning officer for the presidential election. These returning officers collate the results and make a formal declaration of who has won the constituency. The Ghanaian media is littered across all 275 constituencies and their collation centers. You are the ones who are reporting this election. If indeed anybody has gained 140 seats in parliament by now, you will know. Wouldn't you know? You will clearly know. So we do not think that, first of all, it lies in any candidate's mouth. Yes, we understand the political parties and their campaigns throw out numbers and explain where they are in their own coalition, etc. We've seen pictures from both sides and press tours. But a claim by Mr. Mahama that his party has won parliamentary majority is false. You, the media, are observing at all the 275 coalition centers across the country. And I'm sure you yourself can confirm, as at now, that they do not have a parliamentary majority. So it is important that at this point in time, this claim be shut down so that the Ghanaian public, some of whom may be going to bed tonight, the international community listening, doesn't start getting that idea that Mr. Mahamad's party has won a parliamentary majority. I think the figures, as are being collated by the Electoral Commission and being declared, are quite clear. The last one I saw the media putting out, not what we the parties have, the media putting out, was about 227 constituencies. And the details were there about who has won what. So please do not be deceived by any candidate, especially candidate Mahama at this point in time that his party has won parliamentary majority. That's item number one that we need to tell the people of Ghana and the international community about. Item number two is a dangerous matter. This dog whistle to supporters by the candidate that they should jubilate. And we are clear. This is a dog whistle to people to get out on the streets and jubilate. Now, first of all, we are happy that this call has largely not been heeded by the Ghanaian public. As you monitor the countryside, largely, this call has not been heeded. Because the Ghanaian people are discerning and can see through some of the, games on election night that candidates play. But we think it must be categorically said that it is utterly irresponsible and it flies in the face of good conduct and even the peace pact that the candidates signed a few days ahead of the election. I want to show you the true nature of some of these candidates. The peace pact that the candidates signed, I think President Akufo-Addo, Mr. Mahama, I think there were other parties that got a rep or so to sign, witnessed by the Chief Justice of the Republic. It says that you acknowledge and you commit to the following. A, that the remaining rounds of campaign sequel to the general election shall be conducted with decorum. B, that we shall monitor and keep in check the excesses of our supporters as and when they get out of line. Now you have candidates rather egging their supporters on after they have signed this peace pact, egging their supporters on to jubilate. And I'm explaining to you that nobody is a kid in this country. That is dog whistle for get out there and, celebrate. They go on, that they hereby commit themselves and supporters to continue to conduct their campaigns in a peaceful manner, that they undertake to accept the results of the election and concede to the winner accordingly. Then they commit to a number of things in it. After signing this, you now have candidate Mahama himself, not his campaign or his party. Those ones, you understand the party portion. But now you have the candidate himself asking his supporters that they have a right to jubilate. And like I've said to you, it's a dog whistle for asking them to go out. We want to, as a government of Ghana, strongly urge all candidates to desist from such conduct. It has the potential to raise tensions, to heighten anxiety, and most importantly, it will leave your supporters severely disappointed if and when an eventual loss is occasioned for you. And so we think that the responsible thing to do as a government...
The votes that has accumulated to give us that victory must be known.
The 1992 Constitution was rolled out. The Electoral Commission has a proven track record of successfully conducting elections. This EC has come under a barrage of criticisms from this particular candidate. But as we can all attest to, so far, the exercise of this election has generally, the part conducted by the EC has generally been smooth. No candidate should at this stage get into this exercise of seeking to undermine the work of the EC. It is most irresponsible and it would endanger the peace of this country. Now, another matter we're looking to is the attack on the media. Again, if you listen to the candidate's commentary, and the commentary by, I think, the General Secretary of his party immediately following afterwards. They are now attacking the Ghanaian media, that you are now in the business of churning out fake results. I'm sure you heard that you are now in the business of churning out fake results. Everybody knows that the media in Ghana, independent, experienced in observing elections at collation centers, does the simple exercise of bringing in the numbers and doing the analysis. And this election, let's commend the Ghanaian media. Many of you have invested in software that allows you to do interesting analysis, do comparisons, etc. You are beginning to notice, just like what the outgoing president of the US of A has been doing. Candidate Mahama is now suggesting that the numbers that the Ghanaian media are churning out and the collation that the Ghanaian media is beginning to do, which you have done in previous elections, are false and are fake. And we think that, again, it is important to call it out. This is not the first time that you see a candidate begin to make such allegations when they know something that maybe the rest of the population don't know. And that's why I cited the example of the US, where the US president, who is outgoing now, consistently been attacking the media as being fake news, enemies of the people, etc., etc. We're beginning to observe a bit of it here. And we think it's important not to let it slide, but to draw your attention to this. Now, again, another claim is being introduced into the conversation, and it's important to draw the country's attention to it, that Mr. Mohammed's party says that it has won majority of the regions, and therefore it can extrapolate that it ought to win the presidential election. For the avoidance of doubt, we need to remind everybody of what the rules of engagement are and what the facts are. The rules of engagement is in Article 63, Clause 3 of the Constitution 1992. And I'll read you just a little bit of it. It says, a person shall not be elected as the president of Ghana unless at the presidential election, the number of votes cast in his favor is more than 50% of the total number of valid votes cast at the election. It has absolutely nothing to do with the regions that you claim or you purport to have won. The constitutional provision of who wins a presidential election is in Article 63, Clause 3. Please take time and read it and educate the Ghanaian public that if any candidate comes to tell you that he thinks that he has won a region which he thinks is big, therefore he should be the next president, or a collection of regions. Ghana's election is not an electoral college like what happens in the US. Ghana's election, in accordance with Article 63, Clause 3, is simple. You have to win 50% plus 1 of the votes for the presidential election. And so please, this misinformation or disinformation that is being introduced into the Ghanaian election as it goes on is important that we call it out so that the general public does not fall for it and begin to correlate that, oh, therefore, if this person wins X number of regions, then he should be declared president. No, there's an exercise for doing that, and that exercise, we understand, is being done by the Electoral Commission. In conclusion, the Electoral Commission has proven, I think over the last 8 elections, it has the capacity to do that which is doing. We want to urge the general Ghanaian population and all other stakeholders to remain calm, to remain vigilant, yes, and to follow the EC's processes and the updates that the EC will give us, and not be moved by comments now by a presidential candidate to do otherwise. And this is what we believe the government ought to put out at this stage in the election tonight. I'll do a quick summary, and then I will take your questions. If we're in church, I would say, and you're normally adofo. And you may, Yadam was the same when you're Brenna, Moshia, and Wahasi. Namum, your friend Waha, and Sembe, Munumi, and Sabi. Mifi as the enemy, Tremu say, the entire Menamijana Hakasani said, many Minister of Information. But Abatwe, Mizunami, a candidate. Kasa make and yet parties and assembly maker. Ghana buying and a air Kasa, and a simi so said me, and a main Kasa Magana buying. The entire you bring Ghana buying any or my needing common say, presidential candidates Nebako, Yura Mahama, Ababon Tinga Central Phone Shimbe, Don Bako, Nifa, and Abe Don Bakuni. No, can Simbi and Semino are buying Susun and your MPP party are buying, and the entire Mitchell say there's a difference between me as candidate and me as Minister of Information. Ghana buying Susun say, you can't want Simbi. Or say, or no party and your majority or parliament. Or say, the supporters, Enfiasi and your money, and no Kasakwa, they all kind of so mountain single chrome, and your money de say, Omadin Kunim. Or say, EC no, Katasumu Mwaso, assassin election results, no. Na soldier for crown poker hubi. Now in Ghana back or some we say Sabi and Totuna say, and some will tipe, and was say you two and one more. Now say na Ghana buying SC was ansem way home. The kind say presidential candidate be announced Yura Mahama, as any party winning parliamentary majority. Pacho a Mogo Sabri. The entire Mogo is a Ghana. parliamentary elections, your returning officers were 275 collation centers. More central for more 275 collation centers. Obi obedin kunimbi ha mo anambo dewru anabeboa. Enti se sabre so obi a winning parliamentary majority 140 a. Senka ba na mo kan ama ye nyina ayate. Mumpo a mo 275 obi de otifi on de hu ye ba mo a mo 275 collation centers no. Mo krampo mu hu yen kan. Ti se candidate bi ba be kasa sinihu mogo. Etosu mienu kasa kwa na ode ma na chita for se omuntin sikrum enye dede nyi omani no. Se ukan peace pact nanu ya omoko sign wo na Kempinski ana moving pick Yewura Mahama Mampani Akufo-Addo the chief justice onyi na de omsabe sha ase en ese sabre ya ye kwa akoto abe ya na se abato brisi eniem bia wachita for krampo ya ebetumi di oye ni aba no wo krampo no wo de wonsa shekrata ase se wo betu omfo ahwema omate asan mo manye sade se de Yewura Mahama na one ne mpanimfo ehye omachita for kutu pase omonti insikrum de ye den se omukan so de wani hwe kruma obi anhye den ne akire ye boga na fo abaso nemom wo se ye bom kokko se sabre isi mpanimfo ke ko omone ma bom no so obi petu be ka kire candidate petu be ka kire se tisikrum ye a emu ayuram kakra isan se ebetumi e detention akosoro yeti asese campaigns mi no na woman na we afre central for na we afre central for no bi aka na sem na sa fi candidate na nkasa be kasa no ana se ntinka we okan na nka omampani Akufo-Addo ana se obi fufuro so candidate ne kasa e detention e be kosoro ebi o de ya wo ho krampo ni se so we supporters say na be ba no wadi nkugu a omakoma bete eno ya de a ye bokoko etwe obi adwen e ba begina so so obeka ya Ghana ya to ababa ye mpren wotwe since I ba 1992 democratic dispensation yimu isi wa kire se onim nadwuma ye parties to mini nya asemba wa kire se onim nadwuma ye but say adwuma yi e koso sabre edu ni mpempenso yi na candidate ankasa etutu bi mane isi no suggest okay can sem to say isi person dani figures no na soldier for crack ho ne ade no e ade e wo say ye tudin ye tumre kire si no obi a hu say enya asempa e wo say obi a edi akire ebio se o cassette ya Ghanaian media say mo se entro na moody figures na mo bobo na entro na moody Ghana about ye chirache media imu na mo ba bia mutumi hwehwem na mutumi ebe ka so ya kan wo polling station we di nkunim we di nkugo na mo akeka bom afie we kra de matoto computers ni software ye hwe twi ni brofo a mugina ho na mo point chro wo so kire se mo adwuma na kɔ nanim afa mo na Yewura Mahama kire se de amoka ne nye nokore ye pese obi ate ase se saa suban we eti se US man pani Yewura Trump obedi nkugo no afi o se central for no omno time o man no omno ye fake media ne nkeka ho ne ade ti obi ama nani na ho na saa nsɛm na Yewura Mahama ne campaign ka fa central for ho no central for mabom ho modern saa election we say bone e wo se bom abaso na nye se yetwemo abo so ansana maminka bibimfa sa allegations about the media about the military Yewura Mahama wa Ghana man penida a former commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, the immediate past commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Onona sabre otwe Ghana bambo for annual form. Ona sabre okika nsem so omo na omugina collation centers ebo ama ewiem enye no kreba akokrada. Ye nyina enim nhihye ne mra eda election. Ukofa ballot box police for na soldier for wo ho kwan say omode their protocol friend the minimum amount of force and I say the requisite amount of force estopo. Nti so obi akofa ballot box na oma bonituo ana obi mu attack collation center na say police for ni soldier for a prevent them from getting there. Kwan say obekọ akogina say candidate na nkasa na press conference etwe military any bambo for na boso e dangerous esan say de baby a omno mbebo e ho ban te ebi o say e bom kokko ansa na de twato Yewura Mahama ne party ka asem bi say omo susu say oma wini regions be ahen om kan 10 regions enti omo susu oma wini 10 regions e wo say omo wini presidential no by the way presidential no omo ntumi nka ho asem so far omo kan no de atete but omo start introducing common say omo susu say oma wini 10 regions enti e wo say omo wini presidential no So okay, Ghana Mrakuni Constitution, Article 63, Clause 3. Okay, pay for says, so person do mampenia. Also winning 50% plus 1 of presidential votes and your regions. Mr. Ghana election and your US your friend say electoral college the any say region way call say into say and I say Debbie. The number of votes. In fact, anything I parliamentary votes who calculating in here. We say TV network back mo calculate parliamentary votes abanyina and most party projected say Omampeni party no MPP would have won about 53.8% of the parliamentary votes, even though parliamentary seats. But anything na ohwe no abon say parliamentary votes no obehu say numbers no akwa ni. So obi be catch ra say osusu so we win regions 10 inti yamfa presidency ni mana Mr. Hussein si who enya no kre enya no kre ba kokrada tie wo say yetumi eka ho asema obia ete ne ho ase ye be sere Ghana fo nyina se ne ya di ehuni dodo na di omhuni no yenkoso nye ne saa isi be yo madwuma omo wi ade on be ka no e wo say candidate bia titiri wa do nsa ko share krata we ase no e wo say udi so say on my papa me na say Manuato, we'll take your questions. Where's the other microphone? We'll take your questions and then quickly respond to them. I wish I could speak another language, but I'm not good in Hausa. All I can say is, Yayade, Lafialo.